Đẩy bên luôn này.
When Typhoon Kajiki tore through central Vietnam, it didn't just bring wind and rain, it brought destruction that felt overwhelming. The rain didn't stop for days, turning entire towns into muddy lakes. Streets disappeared under swirling brown water. Cars, market stalls, and anything in the way was swept off like they were made of paper. In cities and rural towns alike, families had barely any time to react. The water came fast, creeping under doors, filling stairwells, and swallowing homes. In Thanh Hoa, a mother named Linh wrapped her 2 small children in plastic sheets to protect them from the cold floodwater. She grabbed a single photo album, memories she couldn't leave behind, and escaped into the night, not knowing what would come next.
Oh man.
Rescue teams, soldiers, volunteers, neighbors risked their lives to help others. They moved through the flooded streets in small boats, pulling people from rooftops and upper floors, often in the pouring rain. More than 500,000 people were evacuated, many with nothing but the clothes they wore.
Bây giờ là 4 giờ sáng và điểm tắt ở
Mà ra đây nó flow vào đây gì? Flow vào đây. À bây giờ.
Shelters quickly filled up. Schools, gyms, and temples became temporary homes. People shared what little food and space they had. In one shelter, a grandmother named Hoa, who lost the small shop that supported her family, sang lullabies to calm children who weren't her own. Her song was one small comfort in a time full of fear and uncertainty.
Chăm anh em rồi. Anh chị chia sẻ mạnh tay vào cho em đi ạ. Thôi vô trong kia.
Hospitals were overwhelmed. Power outages left doctors scrambling to keep patients alive with backup generators. In a clinic in Ha Tin, Dr. Min performed surgeries by candlelight as water dripped through the ceiling. Medical staff worked around the clock with limited supplies, driven by duty and sheer determination. Schools weren't spared either. Just as students were getting ready to return after summer break, classrooms were filled with mud. Books and desks floated like wreckage. But even in the aftermath, teachers like Trang picked up whatever they could. damaged chalkboards, salvaged materials, preparing to teach again, even if it meant doing so under a tarp. In the countryside, the damage was just as devastating. Nearly 30,000 hectares of farmland were destroyed. Rice fields, passed down through generations, were buried in thick, black sludge. Farmer Duke stood in his flooded land, crying over the loss of his crops and animals. For many, the destroyed harvest didn't just mean economic loss, it meant hunger. Critical infrastructure collapsed. Power lines went down. Roads and bridges were washed away. Cell towers were knocked out, cutting off entire villages. In one community, a young man named Tuan climbed a tree just to find a faint signal, hoping someone, anyone, would hear their call for help. In the middle of the chaos, there were moments of quiet strength. People who had lost everything were still cooking meals for others, sharing what little they had. Young volunteers paddled makeshift rafts through flooded neighborhoods, delivering water and medicine. Even social media, when it worked, became a tool for rescue coordination and community support. But the truth is, Typhoon Kajiki wasn't just another natural disaster. It's part of a dangerous pattern. Storms are getting stronger, wetter, and more destructive. Scientists have been warning about this for years. Climate change is making extreme weather more common, especially in countries like Vietnam that are highly exposed to rising seas and heavy rains.